Hello everyone, it's thomasjujube, and welcome to a little discussion video on Kamen Rider Saber. I wanted to try something a little bit different from what I normally do at the end of a season, since Saber has that weird special chapter thingy, and it's like not really part of the main story, but kind of part of the main story. Next week, I'm going to be doing my usual full analysis of the show with my writer potential and Revice videos later on. This is meant to be a bit more of a free discussion thing on the show, focusing on my guest who watched the show weekly with me, making Kamen Rider Saber the first Kamen Rider show and Toku show that he's seen live, my brother. Supposed to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Oh. How do I do it?
Just say like hi.
How?
Hi.
Hi.
Hello. Can you tell us your name?
I'm Martine Jujube.
I'm gonna put it up on the screen how you spell that so no one spells it wrong. There's an accent because hablamos español. See?
See.
See. Okay. So, as I said, Saber is the first writer show that you've watched weekly live with me. I mean just in general. You didn't know anything about the show before you started watching it. You were just like, I think I was watching like episode 9 or something, or 8. I think it was 8, and you're like, "Oh, the new Kamen Rider's out. Can I watch it with you?"
Yeah, pretty much.
So before that,
I don't really know much about most.
Yeah, so before that, you've only watched Gaim, right?
And a bit of X8, but that's it.
Oh yeah, I forgot you mentioned X8 because every Kamen Rider fan shows their family or friend Gaim because I guess that's just what we do. And I guess you watched like part of X8. I think you watched up to like. Do you remember the last part of X8 you watched?
I'm pretty sure I watched most of it. Maybe the beginning. I watched most of the end. Yeah.
And then before that, with Power Rangers, I think you've watched like part of every season, right? Up until
Yep.
like Dino Charge, I think.
Yeah, probably. Everyone that's on Netflix at least.
Well, before they were all on Netflix. Now, maybe a few of them are on Netflix, but at the time, yes, all of them are on Netflix. So I guess you've seen all of them. You've seen
probably
more of Power Rangers than I have, I think.
Yeah, I didn't watch a lot of the original one though. So
yeah, And then we both watched Samurai was both of our first ones, right? So
probably
when I say in videos, I'm like, oh, I started watching everything with Samurai. You were there with me. You witnessed history.
Yeah, I did.
So back to Saber. So you started at what, like 8 with me, subtitled. So I just kind of filled you in on the show up until that point. And then you watched everything with me, and I explained as we went along if it was something from like the first couple of episodes. A big part of why I wanted to do this with you is because you are completely detached from the Rider fandom and the whole Tokusatsu fandom, because you usually, I mean, as I said, you don't watch these shows really, so you didn't see any of the scans of like what's to come. You didn't see any of the like. I didn't even show you the previews of what's to come. You didn't see any of the leaks or like the rumors or anything. Pretty much your whole experience with the show was watching it, just the episode weekly, and then the one movie when it got released. So
yeah,
because Saber is, like, as I've told you, pretty decisive. Divisive? It's not a lot of people love it. A lot of people really love it, and a lot of people hate it. So I kind of wanted to talk with you about like you have this unique perspective on the show where, if you didn't like it, it's just because you didn't like the show, not entirely because other people don't like it or something like that. So I guess we can start with like kind of the overall. How did you feel about overall Kamen Rider Saber as a piece of television?
Um, I mean, it was pretty good. Yeah, there were some enjoyable parts. There were some stranger parts, but they had some nice fights. It's a pretty good story, you know. They had strange men that didn't blink, so. But yeah,
Oh yeah.
I thought it was pretty good.
So for me, I split Saber up into like three parts, um, which is like the beginning part before Yuri debuted, and then this middle part when everyone was angry at Toma, and then this last part where everyone was friends with Toma now, and then like the finale is kind of its own thing. So like the first part of the show, what did you think of that?
Um, I mean, that was kind of when I started at least watching it, so I was a bit confused at first. So I mean, it seemed like a average kind of common writer where there was a monster and they went to fight it and they win, or sometimes they get like new book or something. So I mean, it wasn't like the craziest thing ever.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of people don't like that first part, and I actually also don't entirely love. I like had fun watching it, but I didn't really. I don't think it was that amazing because there's like. Did you feel it was like really quick? Like things were happening very quickly.
Yeah, really nothing happened to be honest. Like everything felt like it just kind of happened, you know, like oh, he died. Oh, now he's back, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Because
It's,
remember he died, or no? They had the whole thing where he got defeated by Caliber, and then at the end of the episode, they're like Kento's dead, and then they danced, and then in the next episode, he was just like passed out, and then he actually died at the end of the episode, and that was like really weird.
yeah.
So that's kind of my problem with the beginning. Not necessarily that it's fast, but like nothing really feels like it mattered, I guess. Like I mean, yeah. So and two, the thing with like remember Rintaro's whole thing, Lion Boy with his master, and
Uh-huh.
he's like Zeus killed my master and I'm going to defeat Zeus, and then he gets the triple book for him, and then that was it. He didn't. He like he like punched Zeus, and then Zeus left, and that was it. And then he defeated one of the
No.
monsters, and the monster wasn't even summoned by Zeus. It was like the Legial guy. So it was like
Yeah.
I didn't really like that. And then like yeah, I don't know. It was I didn't really like it either. I liked it. I had fun watching it, but I was like, yeah, I have fun watching this, but is it that good?
Yeah.
So after that, what did you think of? I mean, yeah, after that, what did you think of like the middle part of the show where everyone betrayed Toma, and then they're all fighting each other now, and then kind of the end of that, I'd say is like when Master Logos makes his book.
I mean, that part was a bit of a lot. It was quite the jump from really nothing happening to like everyone betraying Toma really quickly and then gaining new books and then is that when they met the light man?
Yeah, that's when Yuri. The beginning of that arc is when Yuri
Yeah,
debuts.
yeah, so I mean, yeah, it was quite the jump and I didn't mind that part. I thought that part was it kind of had a rocky start, but then it kind of leveled out. And it was
Do you like it
getting
more
better.
or less than the first part?
I think I like it more because
Me too.
actually something happened there.
So everyone betrayed Toma, and then the arc's kind of about him bringing them back. So what do you think of how he
Yeah.
brought them back?
Oh, I mean, it was. I mean, it was just like it was okay. It didn't seem very convincing, I guess,
Well,
the
remember
way he brought everyone back.
he dueled them a lot of the time. He
Yeah.
dueled Slash twice. The second time convinced him. He dueled Buster twice. The second time convinced him. And he never actually dueled Rintaro. It was more like he just spoke to Rintaro, and then he convinced him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was kind of more interesting. But I did like how he dueled the other two, because they were kind of already not believing Reika. They were just like, let's see if Toma is like can beat us, and if he can, sure, we'll go with him.
Yeah, it seemed a little simple-minded, like big sword fight friends,
Literally big
It
sword
was,
fight, because the sword is big.
yeah. I preferred when it was the Rock Man, forgot his name, the one with big sword man. I preferred
Ogami.
that fight because yeah, he didn't. Toma didn't win that fight, did he? Right?
He didn't win the
Both,
first
at
one.
least.
He won the first one. I mean, sorry,
Yeah,
he didn't win the first one. He won the second
Mm.
one.
yeah, but like he got his trust back because he's like trying so hard, right? Something like
Yeah, I
that.
think it was. It was basically like, you're. I don't know. I like you, kid.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
let's.
uh-huh.
But also part of it too is that his friend Slash already joined Toma, so it's kind of like, well, if my friend did it, I might as well. I have an incentive.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I didn't mind it. It didn't seem like it was that rushed, but yeah, it was
Yeah,
nice.
I really like the second arc. I like how it's about Toma bringing everyone back together, and then but even then he doesn't fully succeed because Ren doesn't really come back, and there's a whole thing with Kento, and then Slash and Buster, he brings them back in like different ways, and Blades. It's not like the same thing where he's like, "Come on, everyone, let's team up." He's like Slash. He kind of like he showed Slash that he like was meant to use Rekka, and I kind of convinced him, and then that kind of led into Buster, but by becoming more powerful, that convinced Buster, and Rintaro is just kind of like, Reika's mean, so
Yeah,
leave her.
yeah.
What did you think of Reika?
I don't know. She seemed like
In
she was
in
gonna be a
in
cool character.
Yeah, at least in this part specifically where she was only wearing black, and then she just yelled at people, and she slapped
Yeah,
Sophia. Do you remember that?
yeah.
What did you think of that part?
All of that part was at first she seemed like she was gonna be like the the cool man, like the
Yeah,
second hand man to Master
logos.
Logo. So she's yeah, and then brother came, and then she just kind of became a little weird.
Yeah, well, we can talk about that in a
But
second.
like,
But I want to specifically know how you felt about the specific scene where Sophia got slapped by Reika. Just
um, I don't know. It was pretty surprising, I guess.
yeah, because she's
It was a
like,
good slap.
I know, yeah, because it was like Sophia asked a question and then Reika just slapped her, and it was like a slap, like a slap. So
Yeah.
it was
She seemed to have the Chad energy, but then it diminished in later
she
episodes.
definitely had the Chad energy. So then
Yeah.
the end of that arc. Oh, at the end of that arc, Luna came back. Do you remember? That was the first time Luna returned, and then
Yeah.
oh, this is the part. Remember Toma? Do you remember Toma running up the green screen stairs?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you like
How
that
could I
part?
forget?
How could you forget that part? Do you agree that part is
I
legendary?
don't. Yeah. I think Kamen Rider has to invest in some CG because their CG is some Flash season whatever
The
CG.
Flash.
It's not very good.
Did you know that
Yeah.
before the show started, they made a big deal. They're like, our CG this season is gonna be super good because they were using they were flexing. They were gonna use the Unreal Engine, which is what
Uh-huh.
Fortnite runs on. So they were like,
Yeah.
oh hell yeah, this CG is gonna be really good. But they barely used the Unreal Engine CG, so it was
Really.
just yeah. It was like the part in like the opening where he's like on the rock. He's like
Yeah.
standing there and the camera spins around. That's like the most they use in like the whole show. No, they used it in
Really.
like the first two episodes. Um, there's a
Did it look
part.
good?
It doesn't really look that good.
No.
You can definitely tell it's like a dude in the Unreal Engine kind of. being animated. It was like a part where Saber gets thrown into like a CG Wonder World, and then it's like that's it. And then in the second part, the second one actually I think was really cool, where Blades and Saber are like driving on their bikes through Wonder World, and then it only occasionally cuts to like the Unreal part, but it's like mostly them in a green screen world. How did you feel about the green screen actually? Because a lot of people kind of complain about the green screen, and it's definitely noticeable how much green screen they're using this season. I think that, I mean, this is definitely the most green screen they've used in like the whole franchise. What did you think of like the green screen isness of the show?
I mean, maybe some points they maybe could have not used the green screen. Like with Wonder World, I don't know how else they could have done it
Yeah.
easier with their budget probably. So I mean, I didn't mind it. I mean, it wasn't like it was like unnoticeable. It was obviously noticeable, but it wasn't like something I was like, oh, I hate this show because green wall, you know?
Green wall. My favorite part was, I
Yeah.
think I told you this. At some point, the Megid base, the bad guy base, it becomes a green screen room. Like
Yeah.
originally they're in a room, and then at some point it like switched, and then they went back to the real room, and then for the rest of the show they're in a green screen room.
Yeah.
I thought that was really funny, just because it's like I don't know, just the fact it was real, and ceased to be real, is funny to me. But in the show it's like still real. I don't know.
Yeah.
Actually, what you were talking, you said some points they didn't need to use green screen. Did you have a specific like location in mind when they didn't need to use green screen?
I mean, probably the base, you know? That
The
seemed a
southern
bit
base.
funky. Yeah, but that was probably because of a certain virus going around.
Yeah, the whole that's probably why like the Meggy base switched as well.
Yeah,
Um,
but I
but
mean,
but I mean I think I do agree with the base because they had real locations for the bases. And they kind of, I guess, wanted to give this idea of a big room. They only ever had like two people in there. No, the most they had was like four riders in there. Well, three riders in stories. Because you probably don't remember, because like I barely remember too. Do you remember the southern base had foot soldiers?
no. Not really.
There was, I think it was like, it was some point in the middle of the show. They showed that big room, and there was like not even like 50 dudes like just crouching
Yeah.
there. And then I think it was the Primitive Dragon debut. And then like Reika's in the front talking to Master Logos, and then later in that episode, Reika's like commanding the troops, and they're like all running around, and then nothing happened to
Yeah.
them. To the point where you don't even remember them. Most people probably don't remember them either, except me, because I thought they were gonna become foot soldiers, because rider foot soldiers are cool, and that never
Yeah.
happened. So I'm kind of, that's probably like unironically my biggest disappointment with the show, that they set up the southern base with like all these people, and then where did they go?
Yeah.
I think it's kind of implied that Master Logos killed them, because the
Really?
sages, I don't remember if they explicitly said that he killed them all, but remember they set up the sages, and then in like the next episode they're like, oh no, Master Logos, you killed all of them, and then Sorius revived them. I feel like the implication is that Master Logos also killed the rest of the southern base, but that still
Yeah.
brings up the question, why have the southern base characters at all if they're going to just die? Because at least the sages came back. The southern base doesn't come back as like a bunch of foot soldiers. It's just the Megid foot soldiers. So I don't know. That's kind of weird. You in Gaim, do you remember the foot soldiers?
Not really. It was a while. I watched Gaim a while ago.
Yeah, you watched Gaim a long time ago, but it was like they were basically just, it was just like one Kamen Rider suit that they duplicated over and over and over and over again. And I think in a lot of scenes they were also CG. So just like Saber. Well, no, Saber could have done that. They could have made one suit of a foot soldier, southern base foot soldier, and just duplicated it, but no.
I mean, probably budget restraints, probably.
I mean, yeah, maybe it could have been the budget. They were like, well, I mean, but then they hired all those people. they,
Yeah.
they
So
hired all those people to make a. I imply that we were getting foot soldiers, and then they went, wait, what if we just did not use the foot soldiers? So
maybe they were like cousins and family, so they're free.
it was all of, yeah, it was all their siblings that they brought
You
on.
know, just
They were like, can you
so.
help me with this thing that I do for a job? What did you think of? I guess the last part is Kento being bad and back to life. Any thoughts on that?
The being back to life part, I kind of
You
expected that.
expected it?
It's not
Yeah.
the strangest thing ever. If he knew like the future and he was like, "Ah, there's no way," besides stealing the sword, it's not like the strangest thing ever. You know, there's
Yeah.
been much more strange stuff in the show.
Like
So I
a
mean,
green screen stairs. He wasn't exactly like evil, I guess. That was my bad. But I mean, yeah. So I agree. I kind of liked the whole thing with him, but a lot of people I've seen do not like how it was executed, and I agree with that. Which is what, like you said, he's like, the future can't change, and I'm gonna do all this stuff. But then in like the episode, he's like, the future can't change. The next episode, he literally said out loud, the future is changing. But then he still
no.
kept doing his thing.
If I was him in this situation, I would be like,
If you
"I'll
died
help."
and then you came back to life, tied to a purple sword.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Probably. Yeah. That's sounds about right.
What did you think of his drip? When he came back, he was just wearing a potato sack. Did you?
The drip wasn't that bad. Toma
I.
has had some worse drip, to be honest.
Can we talk about Toma's drips for a second?
I don't really know what he was thinking in the morning, like looking at what he could wear, and then picking polka dots every day, or like random skirt he has in there. I don't
Those
know why
aren't
he bought a
skirts.
skirt in the first place.
Those are
What are they
pants.
then?
They're just pants. They're
Oh
really
wow.
baggy pants.
Well, I don't know why he bought those pants.
Wait, can I show you a
I wear a
picture?
potato sack.
I'm gonna show you this picture. So this is from the special chapter next week. I can't find it.
Oh, nice.
Why did you slap someone?
Did I?
It sounded like you slapped someone.
I hope I didn't slap someone.
Who did you slap?
I don't know. Who did I slap?
Can you give us your thoughts on Toma's
Yeah.
final trip?
I'm liking like the jacket and like the shirt, and then you just got like
It's just the
his
pants.
pants. Yeah, uh-huh.
I kind of agree. The pants are always what ruins it for me most of the time. Sometimes the shirts are not good, and he has like some weird hats. But a lot of the time, I just don't understand the baggy pants. It's just
Yeah.
like, especially in this picture. And there are other pictures from like other episodes of the show where his pants are just a dress, like you said.
Yeah, I mean the other guy, is that the new Kamen Rider?
Yeah, that's Iki. We can talk about him and his friend later, but yeah, that's the new
Yeah, I
guy.
mean his fit isn't that nice to be honest either.
Really? I mean, I guess I
Yeah,
don't.
I mean
Well, okay, but between the two of them,
the other guy,
the other guy, okay,
because I mean,
he's just wearing normal
like
clothes.
if Toma wore like a normal pants, obviously him, because
He
like he
come
got like
okay, okay, yeah.
the
He got
nice
the one.
jacket and
He's got the
everything.
Wonderworld jacket, right?
Yeah, uh-huh. And then just tablecloths on his legs. It's just a bit much.
The hat's good though, right?
Yeah, the hat's nice.
The hat's
Well, I
clean.
mean, he always wears the hat, so.
No, he has different hats. Remember? Or yeah, I mean it's kind of hard to remember. I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a weird, the French person hat, the beret.
Yeah.
It's like a really poopy version of that.
Poopy version? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
poopy version. So that was our segment, Toma's Fit Check.
Alright.
So the last part of the show, with Solomon doing Solomon things, and then Cross Saber, and then Storius. What'd you think of that part?
I didn't love that part. It was a bit messy, to be honest. Like, Solomon, like his fit. Did not like the fit, you know.
You don't like
I mean,
Solomon?
wasn't horrible. Yeah, it wasn't like bad. And Solomon, he was obviously powerful, but he didn't feel that powerful. You know,
Okay.
like he didn't do like crazy stuff, you know,
Mhm.
until like the one fight with Toma when he got his new stuff.
When he summoned the robots.
So yeah, like there he was like, why didn't you do that earlier? You know, he
Maybe
just
he
kind of
didn't know.
seemed
Oh yeah, and before that, he did
yeah.
the whole like mind control thing with the books.
Oh yeah,
That was the
yeah,
only episode he did it in, and he's like, "Oh, I forgot I could do this." That's true. I never thought about that.
yeah, yeah.
What did you think of the debut of Cross Saber?
That was a pretty cool fight, and I mean, it was like end of the world, bam, new sword. And I mean, I liked the fit. The fit was, in my opinion, pretty cool. It was a repaint, but it was a cool repaint. And
Yeah.
I like the sword itself with
hmm
all like the moving and grooving stuff. That was pretty cool. Much better than Solomon. So yeah.
When Cross was first leaked, it was like not a good picture, and like pretty much a lot of people didn't like it. And then we got like better pictures, and me and other people started to like it more. But still, a lot of people are like, "Ew, it's a repaint. I don't like it. It's lazy or stuff." And then I was really interested to see how you would react because just I don't know, you didn't know what it was gonna be. And then I vividly remember when like the whole cross thing happened where they're like spinning around him. You were just like, "It's so cool," and I was like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
that's cool." He likes
Yeah, I didn't even notice it was a repaint, to be honest, because it
it.
was like space, you know, like who doesn't
Space.
like space stuff?
I
Yeah,
agree. That's a very
it's
true
like all
statement.
starry, a nice blue color, you know. It
Did
was
you
just
know?
all
Oh,
around
go
pretty
on.
cool.
Did you know
No,
that
yeah,
they actually hand painted that suit, like to get all the like the
I did
individual
not know
star
that.
pieces?
I didn't know that. So I mean,
Now you
those
know.
guys should be proud. Martine Jujube likes their fit.
And I agree with the sword. The sword's my favorite Kamen Rider weapon because it's like really cool. It summons all the swords and they do sword slashing. And like the whole that whole fight, like I have not stopped thinking about that fight in a while because it's like he summons all the swords, they go into space and then they go around the world
hmm
and then they start cutting people. Did you notice that Rintaro was in New York, so he was the closest to us?
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
pretty cool.
Actually, while we're talking about Cross, we might as well talk about the aesthetics, the looky of the show. So, what did you think of all the suits overall? Did you like how everything looked?
I thought most of the suits were nice. I didn't really like the villains' suits, to be honest. The three dudes, I forgot their
Mm-hmm.
names. Like the
Most people do. Don't worry.
yeah, I didn't like the like two of them looked exactly the same, and then just some random dog dude. It was like a little bit confusing. Like, are those guys brothers? And then they're like all brothers or something. And I'm like, why is he a dog? And like they got like those other guys got like horns. So I
So,
mean, the Kamen Rider suits itself. I
yeah.
thought
What
they were
about the rider suits?
pretty cool.
Do you have a favorite rider suit? I mean, I say suit overall, but I assume it's a rider suit since you don't like the monster suits.
Primitive Dragon, I thought was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
What's the Yellow Man's name again?
Espada.
Yeah, I liked his 3 book suit, like the
Yeah.
little ring that he like in the cape.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was pretty cool for like only a 3 base form. And
Yeah.
then Rintaro's little ice lion kind of form.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't mind that. The little cape, the hair itself
The
was
hair.
a bit over the top, but I mean, yeah, I thought it was still pretty cool.
You should point out that your favorite animal is lions, so there might be a bit of bias behind all of
Yeah, so
Rintaro's forms.
no,
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 no
no,
bias. You just think they look
it's
cool.
fine. No bias. Yeah,
So the monster suits are your least favorite suits, I assume overall. But like, do you have a least favorite rider suit?
I don't really like Rockman suit.
Gakido? Or sorry, that's the sword name. Buster?
Yeah,
Wow, I'm
it's
disappointed.
it's it's okay. It's
Okay.
kind of boring. It's like
What?
black and orange.
And gray.
Yeah,
Oh, what if it was like
yeah,
all
like the
silver?
most boring. That would be kind of cool. Just boring and like his face. I like the little rhino horn spiky bit on his head. Thought that was pretty cool, but like the fit itself, it's just kind of mediocre in my opinion.
Do you like how they all have their swords like sticking out of their head?
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Speaking of the swords, I guess, did you have a favorite sword specifically out of
I mean
all,
the X
including
sword.
the Psycho or
Oh wait. Oh,
Cross? Do you mean Cross
I
Saber?
like the yeah, cross saber. Yeah, that's what I
Okay,
meant. You
yeah,
know,
of course, that's the
I
best
like
one.
the yeah, I forgot about the one guy, but I like the void guy.
Bahato
Yeah, uh-huh.
or
I thought
Falcon?
it was kind of cool, and the sword itself was also kind of cool.
Wow.
Wasn't like incredible,
Are
but
you saying
like
that just to upset
pretty
me?
cool. Maybe
Wow. Okay. Because a lot of people, or sorry,
only cool people have
me,
those.
me, I don't like it because it's bad. I mean, the sword itself is kind of fine, but I don't really like the sword and like the belt as an idea.
I also didn't mind the one episode with him, or
He
like the
was
movie, whatever.
the movie. Yeah.
When
What'd you think of the
Toma got
movie?
like the new, yeah, the movie was pretty good. It wasn't like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty nice. But yeah, but I like the his final form in that. I don't know where
Emotional.
that book went, but I mean, yeah, emotional dragon. Yeah, like I thought that was I didn't mind that. Like with
Yeah.
he had like a shield, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought that was cool,
Did
but
you know that
they
shield
just
is
never
from
did anything with it.
it's from
So.
Kamen Rider Force? They just stole the shield and they repainted it. But it
I
works.
actually did know that. So,
You did know
yeah.
that? How did you know that? For
I'm a no, I'm a Forza fanatic.
it's Forza.
So I know everything about that. Forza, yeah. That's a game, my bad.
Yeah. What did
Happens
you
all the
think
time.
of the books? The idea, just kind of, I mean, I guess just the idea of all the characters having books and all the books do the book things and things and with the books.
I think the books that do the book things themselves, they're okay. There's been better like gadget things, whatever, functions, whatever they're called. What are they
What
called?
would most people just refer to them as gimmicks, including me?
I prefer there's been better gimmicks out there, but
Which
I mean
ones
it's
do
not
you
like a
like better?
horrible gimmick. I didn't mind the build gimmick. I thought that was kind of cool with all the little bottles and he
Bottles,
plugs
yeah,
them bad boys in.
and you can
I
shake them
kind of
too.
like the ghost. I like Ghost's gimmick where he like plugs it in. The bell itself looked kind of cool. Wasn't the greatest Kamen
Hmm.
Rider, but
Are we talking about the ghost belt
I
or
didn't
the
think the
saber
gimmick
belt?
was that bad.
What did you think of the gimmick of like the books being able to mix and match and stuff? Like Toma frequently uses like the other characters' books for like an episode, and then he just gave them back.
They copied Gaim because that was Gaim's thing, where you
Wow.
could just toss in anyone and just combine. But I didn't. I thought that was one of the cooler parts about the gimmick because the books
so
themselves are pretty good.
so this is actually my favorite like Kamen Rider look, like how everything looks. I just really like all the swords, like the idea they all have different swords and it all is like incorporated into their helmets and stuff. Like all their visors are like the sword slash with the sword, their unique sword, and I think that's really cool. And then I love the books, how like they all have a picture, or most of them all have the picture of the armor. So like Brave Dragon has a picture of Saber, but theoretically someone else could use Brave Dragon, and even though there's a picture of Saber, they get Saber's like arm, but it's like just his arm because the book is just about his arm. And then like they could throw that around and stuff. That's like I think that's really cool to me. I just really like the mix and match. Like you're right, with like in theory they've kind of done this before. Actually, Gaim's interesting that you brought up because Gaim's probably the closest because they have like all the riders with a base form and then they can switch the gimmicks around, kind of like with the sword drivers emblems. But like with Gaim, they didn't really do that. Like I think in the show, no one mix and matches the locks until Gaim starts mixing them with the energy ones. And like actually I think someone else used the watermelon. But like in side content they kind of mixed it up. But like in Saber the show, like the Three Little Pigs book gets used as a form by like three different people. And I think that's
Yeah.
really cool. Do you think it's really cool too that we have a form in the Kamen Rider history that's based off of the Three Little Pigs?
Yeah, it's good to think outside the box. I don't
Think
think
outside the
any other
book.
common writer is going to do this.
That's true.
True.
Do you have a favorite book? I mean,
I
not
like
necessarily like, yeah.
the Ice Lion book
Yeah.
because it's not really a book.
Yeah, it's a big shuriken.
book thing.
It's a bok, actually. The bigger ones are called boks. Tiny ones are
Oh, my
books.
bad.
Yeah,
Bok
it's okay.
book.
This
Bok.
is a bit of a
My bad.
personal question. What do you think of your brother buying all the books and the swords?
He's kind of a loser for it, but I mean, whatever he feels is necessary for him. Because after this, he'll probably never use them again. So I mean,
Wow.
that's
Anyway.
why that's why you should join his Patreon.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah, link in the description to my
Oh,
Patreon, everyone.
yeah.
You could hear,
So you can.
you could watch this video a couple days early before it came out, and you can see my review like a couple days before it comes out. So what did you think of the characters? So Toma, our main character, what did you think of Toma?
I mean, obviously not the greatest fits. So I mean,
Oh yeah. Besides his fits, we
immediate
already talked about
downgrade.
his fits.
Yeah. I mean, he's a pretty good character. He's not like an incredible character because he's just like a dude that like he's just like every other Kamen Rider main character,
Yeah,
where he just like
they have the interesting thing with his
tries his
novelist
best.
stuff, but yeah, then he's just kind of the same for a lot of
Yeah,
the
they
show.
don't really say much about his novelist stuff,
Yeah,
because I'm like, how is he gaining money? What is he eating?
he's probably eating the same ramen that like Disaster and Ren were having because he can't afford anything
Yeah,
else.
probably.
I actually, speaking
Yeah,
of
true.
the novelist thing, there was a really easy way to make him more novelist-y. In X-Aid, you probably don't remember, but the Gashats, the video game toys, were all like fake video games, kind of like how all the Saber books are. They're not like fake. They're fake in like the universe, but they're clearly based on like real fairy tales. And I think it kind of would have been interesting if like every time he got a new book, he kind of had a little nerd out about the book, because they kind of did that in X-Aid, where like he got a new game and he's briefly like, oh, this is a game that came out or something that like
Yeah.
is just coming out. It kind of would have been interesting if like he got Brave Dragon and he's like, or no, he had Brave Dragon like at the beginning. If like Espada used its base form and he's like, whoa, that's Lampdo Alangina. I've read that and did a book report on it or something. And then
Yeah.
Kento's just like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
like you have to make sure that like everyone's like, what are you talking about? Like, he seems like the weird nerdy novelist. And then like I think with the later books you'd have to do the same thing, like especially X Swordsman, actually, now that I think about it, because that was a comic book, remember? Or it's called like Sword X-Men, but it's like the same thing. And like it would have been cool if he's like, Yuri, that's my favorite comic book, blah 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 blah. But no, yeah, I agree with that. I don't think Toma's that bad, but yeah, they could have done more with him.
Yeah, definitely.
What did you think of Rintaro?
He's also like okay. I mean, I like that he's like still like near the other parts. He was still like loyal to all of the sword organization, whatever, because like they raised him and stuff. But I mean, he was an okay character. He was, I don't know if he was gay or not. He radiated that energy.
He's at least
I
bi,
mean,
because he seems interested in May.
yeah. So
But
I mean,
yeah.
nothing wrong with it. But it's just a bit confusing. So I mean,
Do you
yeah,
think
he's a fine
Kento
character.
do you think Kento's definitely gay for Toma?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know. He seems a bit like too happy when he sees him. Like
Toma.
relax. Yeah, I'm like, oh, he's back. Like after a year, like, yeah, be happy. But they're like running, like hugging, a bit too much touching. Something's going up. Be an evolution of his fits from normal fit to potato sack, back to his fit to whatever this is.
Whatever this is, yeah, I agree. It's kind of, it's like the undersuit. It's like a weird. It looks like.
Yeah.
It looks unironically like a Power Rangers morph suit, kind of.
Yeah, it looks like
with
he's like
all the
wearing like
detail.
chainmail underneath.
It's definitely that undersuit thing. It's weird.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to look at.
I kind of respect how like much different it is though. Like it is like interesting to look at. Like Toma's is like big pants, but this is like it's so bad you
Not
can't
big
stop
pants.
looking at it. Maybe that's what it is.
I mean, I can stop looking at it because
Oh,
it's so bad, but
Maybe it's
Yeah.
not that bad then. If you can't stop looking at it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's not the worst fit ever, but it's like it's a bit like why, Why'd you do this? So, yeah.
So those are our three main characters. What did you think of? I guess the only other like main character, May. Actually, before we talk about
Hater.
May, I just want to. Yeah, I was gonna say, you every time for like a period of time, every time May was on screen, you'd be like, "Go away, get off the screen, go away,
Yeah.
no, stop, go stop." But
Yeah.
like, do you actually hate her, or is that like joking?
No, I do hate her. She's just such a useless character. Doesn't need to
Wow,
be there.
that's not
Like,
very
I'm
nice.
so happy she didn't get a Kamen Rider
Wow.
belt because that would have
I
really made me uncomfortable.
I actually wanted her to be a writer, and a lot. Well, kind of. I'm like mixed on it, but I've seen a lot of people wanted her to become Espada because it sounds like May Spada. You can say May Spada. It like
Uh-huh.
it's like rhymes together, and because when Kento was dead slash evil, the Ikazuchi sword was just no one had it, and you could have given it to
Yeah.
May. And there's like one scene I think where they were in the base in a base. I think it was when the northern base was attacked. She like held Ikazuchi as like a weapon.
There's a lot of moments where she did not need to be there. She's like in like the Power Rangers where like those two people, they're just there for like comic relief.
Vulcan skull of Kamen Rider
Yeah,
Saber.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But she's like not really comic relief at all. She's just kind of there, yelling people's names, and then every once in a while getting hit. And then she gives stickers to people.
Oh
So
yeah,
like,
the little pins.
I don't know why she's there. I mean, I guess near the end,
When she
writes
took a
something on
couple
Twitter or
episodes,
whatever.
yeah, when she took, you were like complaining
Yeah,
about
to
it.
write
She
like,
took like 20 minutes to write 6 lines on twitter.com.
yeah, No, she was really struggling with that.
Some people have problem writing. I mean, Toma's the writer, she's the publisher. Or I think she's his
She's
editor.
she's just not that good.
I liked her. I thought it was kind of good that she didn't become a writer because her role was very clearly like the person who wasn't the writer of like out of all the writers. Like it was more impactful, I think, that she's there at the cross debut helping everyone, but she's not actually participating in it per se.
What
So
does she do to help?
well, I mean, she's like, she's like, come on, guys, you
What
can
help
do
is
it.
that?
Some people just need a pat on the
Like,
back, okay?
yeah, but what if Solomon like gets like his big robots, kidnaps her?
Okay,
Now
well then
what?
that's her problem, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And then like, what if he's like, give me all of your swords and I'll let her
I,
free.
the episode before you started watching, she actually was like Zeus like was gonna eat her. He like threw her up in the air and he was gonna eat her,
Oh,
and then
really?
Rintaro stopped her. So I guess that did
Oh, wow.
happen. Solomon just didn't care about her, so he's like, nah, I'm not gonna. Any other thoughts on like the other writers, the other characters?
I didn't like Ren.
You
He was
know, like Ren.
annoying quite a
Even
lot.
even by the end when he had the whole thing with Disaster.
I mean, he had one good fight. That's not gonna like make up for everything else he did.
Okay, that's true.
He's still a child at heart. So
I mean, that's true. When Kento died, he's like crying, like you said. He kept crying, but he's like making the funniest sound. He's like,
yeah,
Kento.
yeah.
Which arguably sums up his character for the entire show. What about the dad? The dad, you like the dad? He's fun.
I like
right?
the dad. I like the child too.
The child.
The
The literal
child should have
child.
gotten a belt.
That's
Yeah,
true.
the
A lot of
actual
people
child. Yeah,
want him to be a writer
yeah,
because what his dad said something like, "You're the swordsman of the skies," and then Daishinji said something like, "Hey yo, I can hook you up." He should have
what happened?
helped in the finale. You think?
Yeah, like when Kento, no, when Toma falls down, he should have actually died right
Yes,
there.
he's the swordsman.
And
Oh,
then, yeah,
right.
yeah, no, yeah, he should have just died right there. And then the kid should like come over and like, yo, sweet belt. Where's the belt? Wins everything.
And then he's the new Kamen Rider Saber.
Yeah, yeah.
What did you think of Reika and her brother?
They're fine. There's nothing really crazy. Like the change from her being Chad energy to being like I don't anime woman. It was a bit of a difference, but
I don't like that it was not necessarily that it was so sudden, but it's kind of like uncomfortable, right? When it happens, you're
Yeah.
like, what are we doing? And then Ryoga, her brother, there's nothing. He doesn't. Who is he? What does he do? He doesn't do anything. He's like, he just has a cool sword, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
that's it. Did you know they're actually better in the crossover episode than they are in the show? Or actually,
Yeah.
Reiko was better, arguably. She was just as good before her brother appeared.
I feel bad for the brother. I
Hmm.
mean, he was so powerful. I feel like he got such a downgrade.
He
Like, he
got
seemed to be like unstoppable being, and then he just became like he's just kind of there. You know, like why are you helping? You're just going to die, and he did die. So
I kind of wish that they had this, like, we don't really know where he was for, like, what he appears in episode 29, I think. We don't know where he was before that. I kind of think it would have been interesting
yeah.
if they made him Reika's younger brother, and then you get rid of the weird stuff, and then you have Reika
Uh huh.
be, like, overprotective of him, not in a weird way, so that's why she's, like, happier. And then
Yeah.
the younger brother, you could say he was training for like the entire show. So when he appears, that's why he's so powerful. He's like
Yeah.
arguably the best one with the sword. But then eventually, it's like he's only been training. Doesn't have the real world experience, and that's why he's getting poopied on now.
Yeah. So
What would you
that
have
probably would
done
have been better.
to fix Durandal?
Who?
That's Ryoga, the brother.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just gonna say Ryoga. 'Cause I don't know who that is either. So I feel like maybe he could have been more powerful, done more. You know, because like everything seemed to like everything that like his thing was like deleting time, I guess, or whatever, or teleporting,
Hmm.
whatever. And then it would have been cooler because like didn't Toma like see through it or whatever?
Yeah, and like a couple episodes after he debuted, Toma suddenly could see him moving in his like time state.
Yeah, like
Hmm.
everything that happened to him, it was just like he's like that powerful, and people are just like, yeah, I can see exactly what you're doing.
Well,
Like
only
this man's like
Toma
deleting time.
could
How do you
see.
know?
Only
Yeah, but
Toma could
like, yeah,
see, and then
that's fair.
Rintaro just kind of figured out that all he does is teleport behind you, and then he just
Yeah, but
creates
like
like ice
he,
behind him.
yeah, so he's like some like video game boss where you figure it out and like he just continues it no matter what, you know? So
That's true. Actually, that's really funny. Master Logos. Actually, what did you think of him?
he needs to blink more or get
Yeah,
some eye drop because
at one point you mentioned to me that Master Logos never blinks, and then
yeah,
for like 5 minutes, we both just stopped reading subtitles. We just started watching his eyes, and
yeah,
then we
he just
both
never blinks.
he blinks. I only noticed like one blink in like the whole show,
Yeah,
or at least once you pointed out, and I guess that's why he's so creepy. You cracked the code of why
I
Master
know.
Logos is so threatening because he just doesn't
Yeah.
blink.
Well, Tassel is the
That's true.
greatest character created
Didn't bring up Tassel.
ever.
Can you tell us about Tassel?
Yeah. He's just a Chad character, you know, he just radiates that alpha energy. He has the drip. He has like the skill, you know? And he's
He's
just
what
like
Toma
all
aspires to
around
be.
the greatest common rider. Yeah, exactly, you know? I hope Toma gains blue hair in the future. Because,
His hair's
like,
actually green.
who doesn't? And that stash, yeah, my bad. And the
Oh wait.
stash, too, that he got, gorgeous.
Also, just want to point out that we started calling the show the Tassel Show. Were you were sad when he died both times, right?
Yeah. And then he had, like, the Force Ghost in the end, so
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, he
just
can.
glad to see him back.
Do you kind of like the idea that the narrator in the show was like a character in the show? Like you said, like then he comes
Yeah.
back. The narrator of the show comes back at the end to say goodbye to the main character.
Yeah, uh-huh. It would have been cool if like they're like like Tassel and Toma like mid conversation and then he like talks to us for a second. That'd be
like
pretty cool.
like
You know, he'd be like, look at this guy
a kid show where he's
in
like,
Deadpool.
where should we go next? Or like
Yeah.
Deadpool.
Yeah,
That's
or
true.
yeah, or a kid show. Yeah, like Dora.
Dora, can you tell me what Wonder Ride book I should use?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
just
exactly.
pause. And then
Tassel is Dora.
Tassel is Dora. I guess the last thing to talk about, or one of the last things to talk about, is the finale of the show. What did you think of the finale of Kamen Rider Saber?
They should have all died and never came back. That
Really?
is the dream ending. No. I mean, I wouldn't mind. I mean, yeah, it was kind of nice. I don't know. I feel like it would have been nicer if Thomas stayed in the Wonder World,
Mm-hmm.
whatever thing. Because, like,
Yeah.
that was kind of nicer because it was like, ah, he's gone. But I mean, because, like, they led up to it the whole time. Like, oh, he's going to have to stay there, you know?
Yeah.
And
Or
then
he
he,
he
like,
stays.
accepted
Yeah.
it. And he's like, you know what? No. And he's like, you know what? No.
No.
I'm actually going to go get it back or, like,
He
bring them, you know? And it's like,
he decided the end to his
okay, then.
story.
I didn't want him to. No.
I didn't want it to. I do agree though. I think like they killed everyone off up until Yuri revived them, and it was kind of obvious they were going to be revived. And then Yuri died. Everyone's back, I guess. Or like the revived people, they were. It made sense they were going to come back. It felt like they were going to come back. And then I don't know. Yuri coming back is kind of like, they had him revive everyone, and now he's back. But I do agree. I think at least they could have kept Toma in Wonderworld, and he could have just been like
Yeah.
Tassel, where like he just kind of is a hologram there sometimes, and he's like, hello.
Yeah.
My biggest disappointment is that Toma is now like Tassel with the Wonderworld powers, but he didn't give us the final narration of the show.
Yeah.
Like he could have.
You should have said Bone Lecture.
Yeah, he should have looked right at the camera at the end and said, like, Mina-san, bon lecture, goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
And he did.
Yeah, something like that.
I actually forgot that Yuri was my favorite character. I completely forgot about my favorite character in the show. Yeah, I just think he's really cool. He's like, I mean, he's introduced in the second arc, which I really, really liked. But I also kind of like how he's just like, he's like funny in a lot of cases, right? He's just running around and he's like with when he's like learning about the world at first, but he's also still really cool with his forms. And then the fact he's like a sword is kind of fun and interesting. And then at the end, obviously, he does the sacrifice. So Yuri's my favorite character, and he also is the only character to double wield the two swords, the light and dark. Well, no, Solomon dual wield. I guess not, and Toma dual wields. But so let's ignore that part. But
yeah, okay.
But he's still my favorite, and also the thing with Tassel, how he's like friends with the narrator of the show. That's like really cool.
Yeah.
So on Twitter, I asked people what they thought of Saber because I wanted to tell you what people thought of Saber because you don't know what other people think of Saber other than what I have told you, right? For some reason, the tweet got 131 replies and just 46 quote tweets. So there's like almost 200 interactions with this. So we're going to read all of them, okay?
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just kidding. Let's look at the top comment is from It's Ya Patty Boy, and he said he dropped it after Yuri's introduction. Very insightful.
Well,
right?
Patty Boy is a fool.
Wow, that's not very nice. He's actually one of my patrons, so please don't call him that.
Oh, really? Oh, Patty Boy, I love you. You should continue the support. And it's it's an opinion, and it's fair.
KinFang12 said everything and nothing happened at once in every episode, which is like really funny. It's true, right? I agree with that. Well, not every episode, but that's kind of the first part, right? Where you're like, well, so much happened, and then wait, what did happen?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mr. Change Dragon said middle of the road, honestly. Don't have the same hate for it as others do, but definitely wasn't the highlight of my week every week. Probably not going to be a show I revisit anytime soon. Was it the highlight of your week every week?
It wasn't like something I was like, oh, yippee, Kamen Rider Day. But it was like, oh, okay, Kamen Rider
something
Day.
I had to remind you, right? I'm like, are we going to watch the show?
And I'm like, yes. Sometimes I was excited. Fine. Sometimes it was just like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then I watched the episode and then I'm like, I don't know what just happened. So...
ParaDX Flair said, I really loved Saber, or really, really loved Saber. It was just fun to watch every week, and I also enjoyed watching it live. Though Saber has some flaws, it's very enjoyable to me.
I agree. It's not like an incredible show, but it's not like something that's like
you don't absolutely despise it. What's the worst show you've ever seen?
I mean, yeah. Hunter x Hunter. No, I'm kidding.
I think it's actually pronounced Hunter.
Yeah, Hunter. A lot of people get mad at that. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's Hunter x Hunter. Yeah, I'm just kidding. That's a great show. No one get mad at me.
Tenkai Gamer said, I know Toku fans don't really care for negative opinions, but I found the show to be extremely disappointing. However, I found most of the characters to be dull. Everyone I liked just didn't matter after a while. The story felt very inconsistent, and a lot of the episodes weren't even that fun to watch. It's not the worst writer show out there, but I definitely say it's bottom tier. Well, I guess you have no choice but to say it's bottom tier because you've only watched 2, and one of those is Guy. Or did you like this more than Gaim? You actually probably don't remember. Oh, okay, never mind. I was gonna say, like, do you remember enough of Gaim to, like, say?
I remember a good amount of Gaim.
Okay.
Yeah, but I remember liking Gaim and thinking Gaim was pretty cool.
I'm just realizing a lot of people, I think, have this is their first live writer show, including you. So that's, like, really funny. I don't know why the reason for that is, but that's really interesting. Red Memoriza has a nice little thread for us. Saber had a super rough pacing when introducing characters and feeling for them, especially for Kento and Ren, but once Dragonic Knight was introduced, the show picked up and was a banger left and right after each episode. Yuri was an excellent addition to the cast, and him being a dude from the past adjusting to modern society was a great refresher for the show. I really enjoyed the traitor arc and how everyone sees the light in Toma's shining motive and purpose. The Shindai siblings, say what you will about Ryoga, reminder that's the brother. But Reika had a good run manipulating others and serving for Master Logos. Rintaro, bunch of claps. Ren and Disaster, 2 of the most underutilized characters throughout the show, and magically created the Hell Bros, but even better. I agree with that. Oh, this one you'll disagree with. Mei, one of my favorite side characters in possibly all of the Rider franchise.
What did they say?
They liked Mei.
I couldn't believe it.
It's okay.
Who is this person?
I already told you.
What is their handle thing?
You don't use Twitter.
What? Tell me.
I don't. Toma, honestly, I think people give him a bad rap. In conclusion, do I think Saber is a perfect show? No. Did I enjoy Saber? Hell effing yeah, I did. Great suits, wonderful storytelling, and a wild roller coaster of emotions. So in the end, do you think it came back around? You agree?
What, that the show came back around?
No, did you come back around on that thread? The Twitter thread I just read. That rhymes. I could rap with Toma as a poet. Or as a person.
True.
This one's just a picture. Kyrie Hawk. And I just wanted to bring it up because it's a picture of Rintaro when they fed him the eclair. And it says, Rintaro's my friends. And then all the people around him are it says me. And then it says Kamen Rider on the eclair. So it's like the person's force reading their friend's Kamen Rider. This one's simple. From Gaston Jose 6. So cool.
That's it?
That's it, yeah.
I agree. It's at some points it is pretty so cool.
It is pretty so
But at some moments it's kind of so strange.
This one from It's Pixels 59 is about Gaim. So you've seen Gaim, so I figured let's bring it up. It tried to be Gaim and it failed miserably. The pacing was horrible. Almost all the characters are boring except for Rintaro. Toma has to be the blandest protagonist ever in Rider, but the suits are cool. It's cool that people like Saber, but for me, it's one of the worst.
Pretty much what I said, you know? It's not from what I'm getting from all these people's opinions, I have a good opinion.
There is no such thing as a good opinion. It's just opinion. Can't believe you. Have I taught you nothing?
Sure. You haven't taught me anything.
But although you are right, I guess it is apparent that you don't interact with the fandom at all, but you kind of came to the same conclusion as a lot of people. From Swoopy Kaiser, without a doubt, my favorite Rider season. The suits are just perfect. The characters are all fun. The story is amazing. The Wonder Ride books are great gimmick toys. The Seikens are great transformation devices. And the soundtrack is filled with bangers. And then they give it a 9 out of 10. Potentially a 10 out of 10. Actually, speaking of the soundtrack, what did you think of the soundtrack? I guess, specifically like the opening.
I thought it was pretty good, And it wasn't like, it was like, wow.
You danced to it.
I don't know what they're saying. Yeah, I did.
You did know what they were saying. Sometimes it was
how can you not? Yeah, I mean, sometimes.
What about the rewrite the story insert theme?
Which one was that?
It's the song that plays when in the first 3 episodes with Cross.
I completely forgot it.
You completely forgot. I'm disappointed in you. That's my favorite insert theme in Kamen Rider. It's really cool.
Well, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I forgive you.
Okay,
Sentai
thank you.
5 says, didn't think I'd enjoy it as much as I am, but aside from the beginning arc and start of the second arc, it started picking up and went in a direction good enough for me. Since then, I've enjoyed it every week.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Cure Sencho said, Saber is really good. Not the best, but good. I really love Kenzan's character growth and Toma's relationship growth with Rintrell, but the villain's backstory was dumb and his goal kinda made sense. But besides that, I give Saber a 7 out of 10.
I mean, I think 7 out of 10 is the best, or around the mid area is the best
What would you
area
give it?
for Saber. I don't think it's like incredible. I give it a 6.5 because I mean, it's not horrible. It's not that great. It's just kind of it's
For
kind of there.
reference, can you tell us where you put JoJo Part 3 in
JoJo
like
Part 3
out of
and
like
what? Like a
10 out
scale
of
from
10?
what?
Yeah, yeah, on a scale of 1 to 10.
JoJo Part 3, I put that 8.5.
Okay. Just
Actually, no, comparing that to that, I'd give Saber 4.5 and then JoJo 8.5.
wow. So when you compare Saber to JoJo, it gets worse, is what you're saying.
Yeah, uh-huh. Now I'm like thinking about it. Cause like, JoJo's like part 3. It's pretty good. It's not perfect though. Like Saber, but Saber's a little bit more on the imperfect side.
Last one from Dragon Necro. In my opinion, I thought the show was really great. Not among the absolute best like Build or X8, but just fairly solid. I liked most of the characters and the powers were solid. It has a few elements that drag it down, but I was generally enjoying each episode I saw. A to B tier, I'd say. Yeah.
It pretty sums it up pretty well.
I would probably give it like a 7 or 8. I kind of don't want to spoil it in terms of other Kamen Rider shows because that's what my video next week is for. But in terms of like, I don't really give like number grades and like letter grades because that's what school does. I don't need to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But 7 to 8, and then like a B or A, honestly, like a low A, like an A minus or something. So
Really?
yeah, I thought it was really cool. What were your final thoughts on Kamen Rider Saber, the show overall,
It's pretty mediocre.
except for Tassel?
Except for Tassel. Tassel is the shining light.
I wrote down a few things here that were my favorite moments watching the show with you. Because that was the first Rider show we watched together. Because we didn't watch Gain together, right? You just
No.
watched it on your own. Okay, yeah. So first thing I have here is you called Sophia pretty. You yelled at May every time she was on screen. You always told Kenzan Ren to go take a nap. I think you might have said go play Fortnite at some point. Both of us called Yuri a different name, but you started it. One thing I just realized now is at the end, when Toma goes into Wonder Almighty and is just Brave Dragon, a lot of people have been like, oh, he's just Brave Dragon again, blah, blah, blah. And you like had no reaction to it. You didn't go like, wow, he's just Brave Dragon. You didn't go like, oh my god, he's just Brave Dragon. You were just like...
Because I thought something else more was going to happen. I was like, yeah, because I feel like if I was going to say like, where's his final form? You're going to be like, just wait, or something. So I'm like, okay, I'll wait till I say anything. And then he just kind of dies. And I'm like, what just happened?
You're like, wait a minute. That's a weird thing. We don't... the final form is, I think, just going to be Cross Saber. Wonder Almighty is like a different thing, I think. We don't really know. Toei, the people who make the show, they don't really know half the time either, so it's fine. The last thing is like my favorite part of watching the whole show. Let me set the stage for the viewers. So it was episode, I think, 23, when Primitive Dragon debuts. So it's the part where Toma's in the southern base, and then Master Logos shows up, and he leads him outside and stuff, but we don't know it's Master Logos. After the episode, I turned to you, and I said... And I explained this whole thing to you. I'm like, it's Master Logos because, like, people analyzed, like, the mouth, his teeth, for some reason. They're like, it's Master Logos. It's, like, this big crazy reveal we're gonna get eventually. And then you just looked me right in the eyes and you're like, I know. Did you just figure that out?
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was kind of obvious, like, the way he was acting.
That was my favorite part.
I thought you knew that, too. I thought this was just, like, a normal thing to know. And then you're like, oh, no, you're not supposed to know this.
Last thing I want to just talk about / show you is the next Kamen Rider season. You don't really know about that at all, right?
No.
Other than, like, the picture, other than the preview for the next special episode, and you saw, like, the picture of my live stream. So here's the poster for the show.
It's pink.
It is pink. So the next season's called Kamen Rider Revice, but neither of these two people are called Kamen Rider Revice. The guy that's standing there is named Kamen Rider Revi, and the floating dude is called Kamen Rider Vice. So together they're Kamen Rider Revice.
Oh, okay.
Right? So
are they like the same person?
No, it's the dude who's standing is the dude in the picture with Toma, and he is a normal human. He works at a bathhouse with his family, so that's where they're in. They're in a bathhouse.
Wow.
And he wears the belt, and he does all the stuff with the belt. The other dude is a demon that has possessed him. By becoming a Kamen Rider, the main character's name is Iki, or Benin, he becomes Kamen Rider Revi. By becoming Kamen Rider Revi, the demon named Vice, by extension, becomes Kamen Rider Vice. So
was he possessed beforehand?
I think it's implied that he was possessed by the demon before he got all the belt stuff. So it is kind of like they're not really the same person, but also one can't become a Kamen Rider without the other, so they're like linked and become like Revice together. So the show's meant to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Rider, as you can see with the title. Do you see a little 50?
Yeah.
All the stamps, his gimmick is stamps. Instead of book, he got stamp. And they're all like animals. So his base form, or their base form, uses a T-Rex. Their other stamps are based on past Kamen Riders. So on the bottom left, you can see the pink or the magenta and green one is a Megalodon, and it's based on Decade. On the right, there's a Jackal, and that's Xade. The little mantis, do you see the mantis? That is Gaim.
Gaim, really?
Yeah. So they just.
I thought it'd be 0-1 or whatever.
Well, he's based on a grasshopper, but that would make more sense than him. He's rumored to be a giraffe.
Yeah. Oh wow.
So there's not really any, at least as of right now, before the show's out, there's no rhyme or reason to why Kamen Riders are linked to stamps, or sorry, the animals they are linked to. There's a character in Revice named George, and he's a Kamen Rider fan because in Revice, Kamen Riders are a show.
Oh, really?
So he's working with this company, and he's basically just randomly made all the gimmicks Kamen Riders because he likes Kamen Rider. So the forms, the Revice forms look like older Kamen Rider suits because he likes Kamen Rider. Or because George likes Kamen Rider. Revi, I don't think, knows anything about Kamen Rider.
That's interesting.
So, yeah. What do you think? Do you want to watch it?
I mean, sure, why not?
So,
it seems okay. Yeah.
Next week, you'll get a little tease of them with the special preview. George is going to appear in that special preview, too. So.
Oh, nice. George is the demon?
No, George is the scientist that made all this.
Oh, okay.
Vice is the name of the demon.
Okay. I thought the demon's name was George. I was like, that's kind of a boring name for a demon.
Boring name.
Yeah. George the demon.
George the demon. You'll get to see Revice again in the Superhero Senki movie, because you said you'd watch that, right?
Yeah, sure.
Right. It has Saber.
I guess so now I am.
I guess that's it. That's it for your introduction, your crash course with Kamen Rider Revice, and your final thoughts on Kamen Rider Saber before something happens next week with Revice and Saber. So,
yeah. Any
final words you'd like to tell the audience at home?
I'm sorry to that one guy that I said who's a Patreon. Forgive me for calling you a fool. You have your own opinion. I have my own opinion.
I think that's a good note to leave off on. Can you give us like an end card thing?
Yeah.
Like
what?
Like a YouTuber ending for a video.
Alright guys, leave a like, drop a subscribe, and join my his Patreon for sweet new content. Leave a comment down below saying
and then you have to give us like your final quote, like I don't know, your catchphrase.
I don't know. really put me on the spot.
I know. I'm sorry.
See you later, you jujubes. Yeah,
No,
there
no,
you
no.
go.